Hi everyone, today's build video is my build for the Diecast Mafia's Santa Hot Rod Sleigh Challenge. For this we have to build a hot rod sleigh for Santa Claus. Naturally I'm going to put a Gaslands spin on this. For this build I'm planning to use this Hot Wheels Lethal Diesel. First thing I do after de-riveting the casting is put the chrome piece here into some bleach to de-chrome it. After the chrome is removed I'll fish this out with some pliers and then wash it off so it's safe to handle. Next I want to wheel swap this casting, so I'm going to need some new axles. To make these new axles I'm going to use this paper clip. So I unfold it and then using my needle nose pliers I straighten it out. Off camera I cut it to length and attach some Chemsol design wheels. On the front we have some 14mm fatties, slim Tyre 5 rim 11. On the back we have some 14mm fatties dual, Tyre 9 rim 8. After this I cut out a section on the rear for the Santa sack. First cutting out this metal bar in between the two vents. Then cutting off the two vents of the interior piece, like so. For the offensive weapon I decided to use this minigun barrel from the Ramshackle Games 20mm car conversion set. Cutting it at an angle so it will fit flush with the windshield, like so. So originally I was just going to model a close-up Santa sack in the back. But after a little thought, I thought I'd fill it with some goodies for all the good boys and girls of the Gaslands. So I started by cutting some tissue paper to make the sack. And then gluing it around the edge where I'd already cut the hole out. This was a little tricky because the super glue would seep through the tissue paper and then it just to stick to my hand and just stick to my fingers. So I had to grab a metal ruler instead because it didn't seem to want to stick to this, and I was finally able to kind of get it into place, and when I finally did I reinforced it with some more super glue. And then I just did the rest of this off camera. After this I glued the interior piece to the body. I then trimmed down the Santa sack because I realised I used a bit too much material. With that done, I picked up a few pieces from my bits box and started adding them. Following this, I added some rivets to the windshield to make them look like armoured windows. For the rivets I just cut up a piece of styrene rod. Next was the viewport, which I made by cutting some of this C-shaped styrene. And then adding it to the front windows like so. The next weapon I added to this was the mine layer from the North Star Military Figures Implements of Carnage sprue. Attaching it to the rear for all those naughty wastelanders who didn't get a gift this year because Santa's not giving out coal this year, he's giving out mines. Now into the painting. I first start with some Revell Stone Grey as a primer because I found this works great as a primer, followed by a coat of Revell Fiery Red for the body. The other side I paint with some Revell Rust. Naturally for the tyres I use some Revell Matte Black. The exhausts and side windows I use some Revell Steel. For the gun I use some Revell Matte Black. For the sack on the back I use some Revell Leather Brown. For the wheel hubs I use some Revell Steel again. For the engine I use some Revell Aluminium. I use some Revell Beige for the headlights. I paint this hose on the front with some Revell Fern Green, trying to keep to the Christmassy colours of white, red and green. For the mine layer I use some Revell Steel. For the taillight I use some Revell Purple Red. And for the jerry cans on the back I use this homemade olive green that I have. Now here's the final build. I skipped over painting all the presents in the back just because it was very difficult to try and paint them and film it on camera. So I just kind of skipped over it, and I also just skipped over me applying my usual black wash. So final thoughts on this build. I'm happy with the way it turned out, although I do think I could have done something better with the paint job to make it look a bit more Christmassy, kind of sticking to the themes of white, red and green for the Christmas colours. But I wasn't too sure what to do with that, so it kind of is what it is. I also wish I had some larger wheels for the back, just I didn't have any at hand. So when I next put an order in for wheels, I'll probably buy a larger set and then switch out the rear wheels at some point. Please be sure to check out the other builds by searching Diecast Mafia Santa's Hot Rod Sleigh. Like usual, stick around for the glamour shots and the short animation. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all in the next video.